Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna and I'm a little bit spooky. And today we are going to talk all about eyebrows. I have gotten so many comments lately, compliments, everything under the sun on my Instagram about my eyebrows lately. And so I thought, well, you know what? It's a perfect time to do an updated brow routine because I have changed so much since my first brow routine I've posted on my YouTube channel, which was back probably when I first started my channel. It was one of the beginning videos. Then because I got a lot of comments on my eyebrows, always. I'm obsessed with eyebrows, so I take a lot of time with them, and they seem to be something I do get comments on often. My eyebrows are total catfishes. Like this, you're gonna see the magic of how these brows happen because they don't really exist. This is all just some magic products that helped me get these brows, and I think in the last couple of months I have definitely leveled my brow game up even more, and I want to share with you what I'm doing, what I've changed since my first brow routine. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and link the old brow routine in the eye so you can just kind of get an idea of what I used to do, where I've changed and all of that. This video is going to be from start to finish, everything about my eyebrows. We're going to start out with tinting them, grooming them, filling them in, finishing touches, and how we get to this point right here, and how my brow routine is actually much more simplified than it previously was thanks to a couple of products. If that interests you, just go ahead and keep on watching. But before you do, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below. Let me know some cool brow products that you like and use, things you would recommend, your holy grails. Let me know down below so I can try them out too. Really am obsessed with eyebrows and I enjoy doing them and like playing with my eyebrows, changing the shapes subtly just to make these small differences that make all the difference in the world. So let's go ahead and just get into this video. Alright, so we're gonna go real in depth with this brow routine. To me, one of the most important things with doing my brows is making sure they're tinted. This has been such a game changer for me, and I use the Just for Men in I think it's just like the soft black or something. It's not written on my tubes, and I threw the box away. I think having tinted brows is just one of those weird little miracle things. It changes the game for you. You suddenly have incredible brows. And you see, this is how my brows look. I haven't tinted them in like a month, so they're all grown out, and this is their natural state, which is basically non-existent. But the thing is, there's a lot of hair there. It's just very fine, very blonde hair. Like I have really light brows. And yeah, this just helps make sure you can actually see the brow hairs. And I use the kind of like, I think it's like soft black or natural black shade because I have my actual hair pretty dark, and I like a bold brow. I like a deep bold brow, like a dark brow. What else I've done is not groom them for a few days. I gave them a break, haven't shaped them or anything, just so that they grow out and I can see what hairs after I color them need to go kind of thing, so I can refine the shape after the fact. It's just a little bit easier that way. So what I'm gonna do is take you through this whole little process. So let's get started tinting the brows. I'm using the Just for Men. This is in, like I said, the shade soft black. You get the developer and the color base, and you get a little tray to mix everything in. And I just use an old spoolie brow duo thing. This came with like a brow pomade from Maybelline. I mean, you can use disposable spoolies, whatever. I like having the brush and the spoolie because it's just easier to control. And that's one thing you want with this is control, because this will dye your skin. And you don't want to have, you know, brown or black or whatever where it doesn't belong, because it will stain your skin for a couple of days. You're going to want to be careful. And it's also going to look super scary when you first start. I'm just going to warn you on that one too. You're going to look insane. I'm going to take a little bit of the color base, and I just put like a little squirt of it in my little tray. Not much, because you really don't need much. You can get a lot of uses out of one box of Just for Men. I'm interested to see if it loses its potency though. I don't know if it does that or not. Then take a little bit of the color developer, pop the same amount roughly in the little tray. You want to make sure it's like even parts. So I think I have about even of the two in my little tray now. And I'm just going to take the little brush end here and mix them up in the little tray. And then you're going to apply it kind of like you would a brow pomade. You're gonna paint it on the hairs themselves and a little bit on the skin underneath the brow, but you don't want to go too crazy and go outside your brow line, because then it'll stain your skin, look strange. But one of the perks is that it stains your skin because it makes you look like you have more brows than you do. Got it all mixed up in my little tray. I just wash these out and reuse it. Now, the perk of Just for Men is that it's made to be used on your face, like to tint brows, to tint beards, so it's gentle. It works just fine in brows. You could use any other brow tint you prefer. It's all up to you. This is just what I've been using and found it really effective and incredibly affordable. So I'm gonna pull my little mirror pretty close to me and switch to the magnified side, my lighted mirror here, because I'm blind as a bat without my glasses and I can't wear contacts, so I have to have a magnified mirror to see what I'm doing. Something like this is kind of detailed and needs to be precise. All right, so I'm just gonna brush my hairs up with the spoolie in with no product on it first. And I'm gonna go ahead and start just like mapping them out. And you could also put petroleum jelly around the brow to keep it from getting on your skin. I like to live dangerously. So I'm just go ahead and start to kind of paint that on where my brow hairs are and where they naturally grow, just to color them all. And I try to get them all in there and colored, and to make sure I don't get it all over my skin. I'll take a Q-tip and kind of clean up around afterwards. I'm just gonna paint it on kind of like I would a brow pomade. Just get that initial layer on. Be very kind of careful at this part, and please make sure you do not get it in your eye. That would be very, very bad. So use with caution. You're underage, supervision. But I think like, right now this is a great option. Who wants to go out and get their brows done during a pandemic? I don't. Well, I don't anyway, because I'm a control freak and I can't stand anyone else messing with my eyebrows. So I'm sticking a Q-tip and cleaning up anywhere that might got out of the lines, and you can see it already developing in the brow. But yeah, I don't like anybody mess with my eyebrows. I don't trust them, so I do it myself. I've always kind of been that way since I was like in junior high. I used to get them waxed when I was a kid. My mom had started me doing that when I was in junior high. But I'm kind of obsessed with my eyebrows. I enjoy grooming them and stuff. It's just something I like to do. But okay, I'm gonna just keep on perfecting this, making sure I've got all the brow hairs coated that I want coated and the shape mapped out how I want it. But you want to make sure the hairs are saturated. And this comes in quite a few shades, so you can really match your hair or your brow hairs, whatever you'd like to do. Since I have such a light brow hairs though, I really like to go darker with it. And then I'll take my spoolie side and make sure it's just brush through. I'll go sideways instead of up, so I don't get them all over the place. And you can take a little bit of product on the spoolie as well if you want to. And I just like to make sure I get the excess off so there's not too much. And just really kind of comb them through. If you have smaller eyebrows like I do, it's easier to use the little angled brush, to me, to keep it from getting too insane. But yeah, I'm just making sure the brows are fully coated. And I get every hair, and it's not getting all outside the lines and too crazy. I swear the older I get though, the more tempted I am to do like microblading, just because I think it would be a convenient thing if I found somebody that I could trust with it and would do what I wanted them to do and like the results. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I just don't want to go get them waxed and stuff. I really want to try brow lamination. That's something I would like to try at home. I'm gonna go do the other side here. Do the same way. Try to be as careful as possible. You want to leave this on about 5 minutes, and then you wash it off with soap and water, because I've had some oopsies with it where I have gotten it way out of line and it's been a mess. So you got to be careful. But you see, this starts to look kind of scary. Just trust the process. I say that a lot, don't I? I'm just getting the bulk of the product on, following my natural brow shape here. And always keep a Q-tip handy, tidy up, because you want to get it off immediately if you go outside the lines. Don't let it sit, because it will stain. But this is a good way to save some money if you do get your brows tinted professionally. I'm very much somebody who's a do-it-yourself kind of person. Like I want to control it. Like I don't like having help with anything. I'm weird. I'm very stubborn. So I insist on doing my own spa services, I guess you could say. And I do believe there's a few brands of brow tint on the market. You can go to Sally's and pick up. This is easy. I can grab it at Walmart and it's like $5. I'll link it in down below on Amazon, and it'll probably be an affiliate link, but that way if you are interested you can find it on there. Yeah, even taking just a little brow pencil and just kind of outlining where your brow goes is a nice technique to keep from going too overboard. I've kind of gotten the hang of doing this because I've done it a few times, where I pretty much know where I want my product and can be pretty precise with it. I've seen how people around here have got their eyebrows waxed. So I think I've generally got it where I want it. So I'm gonna let that hang out for about 5 minutes. Always make sure you have a paper towel handy too, because this will stain your skin. You want to get it off as quickly as possible and wash your hands, because I mean, I'm a mess. I'm messy when I do anything, so I have it all over me. But I'm gonna take this, rinse it out, and by the time I get that rinsed out, the brows will be ready to rinse. And I'll come back and show you the results, and then we will do some grooming. Okay, so I want to show you real quick what it looks like as it's fully developed. It looks insane and really scary. Just relax, it's gonna be okay. But I just want to show you what it looks like before I go rinse them, because it has been, I would say, long enough. I didn't exactly time this. I just kind of go by feel at this point. Very laissez-faire about how I do things. Rinse this out, wash it with soap and water, and we will be right back to do the grooming. And we are back. Okay, so one thing I do want to say is if you get it on your skin kind of outside the lines or something, don't panic, don't stress. It will be gone in a couple of days, and you just put some concealer over it. Because I mean, I've done that. I've gotten a little too happy with it and gone outside the lines. It's gone after you like wash your face really good a couple of times. It's fine. But here's what we got, the results. Look, it doesn't look like I have actual like eyebrows now, because there's a lot of hair there that just has no color. And also some of this is my skin is dyed as well, which will fade over like the course of a day or two as I, you know, wash my face and stuff. That's gonna go away, but the hairs themselves will stay the natural black color for a good 2 weeks-ish. About the 2 week mark, it will start to fade on me, and I'll usually touch up by then. I let it go about a month so I could show you kind of starting fresh. So let's groom these brows now. Let me get close here so you can see what they look like. I think they came out really good this time. I've gotten the hang of it pretty well, and yeah. But yeah, the way I groom them is I use a little, this is a Chic face shaver, and this particular one, if you buy the little set, it comes with an attachment here. That's what it looks like normally. And it comes with an attachment that has a hole right here. And what you do is you put that side with the blade facing it, and you have a little gap there, and it's a guard to keep you from cutting yourself, and just creates the perfect little eyebrow shaping tool. I don't pluck my eyebrows. I just don't. I don't like it. It's an unpleasant experience. Why should I? If I can just shave them off gently, it doesn't give me any irritation. I've gotten so used to doing it. Back when I first started doing it, I would get like ingrown hair here and there, but I really haven't had any complications since for years doing this, because I've done this basically since these little things, I discovered them at Walgreens like, I don't know, 10 years ago at this point. These have been on the market a long time. They just got popular. But I think it was Clearasil used to make them, or some odd brand. I just use one of these to shape my brows. I don't trim the hairs anymore because it makes them too short, and I'm going for more of a bushy brow these days. I like a bold brow. Bold but groomed, kind of natural fluffy brow. I'm gonna go ahead, I take this little guy and I grab my just random spoolie here that's hanging out, and I kind of brush them into place. And I have a general idea how my brows tend to grow and tend to look when I fill them. So I just go ahead and I shave off any hair that is just crazy out of the way. Like if it's like right up here at the brow, I leave it alone. But if it's like down here, up here, they go. Most part, I really don't take away very much hair. In here, I kind of definitely get after, because I can get a little bit of a monobrow despite having not much hair. I get like 3 black hairs right in the center. Yeah, you can use these multiple times. Just spritz it with some alcohol in between uses. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this and show you how I do it. So I'm gonna get in my magnified mirror here just so I can see all the hairs. So like I said, I'm blind, and with a little guard on, I'm just gonna kind of pull tight, taut, just a little bit here, just so I don't cut my skin or anything. Just like you would shaving, like dermaplaning your face, you want to pull the skin slightly tight, very gently. But if you leave it slack, you risk like cutting yourself. So you want to be careful with this, like, because this is a blade. You don't want to go ham and just go in there, and you'll take off hairs you don't want to take off accidentally. You might cut yourself. Just be very cautious and careful while you do this. Use common sense. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start right here at the arch, and you can see how where I'm starting is a bit lower than my brow. I don't get too close because that's how you take off hairs that you didn't want to take off. But the beauty of using one of these is if you do accidentally take off one of those hairs, it's just gonna grow back. You're not damaging the follicle or anything like you do with plucking. A lot of times if you pluck your eyebrows and you over pluck, it can take forever to grow them back, or it might not grow back at all, you know, because the follicle can get damaged. So shaving it's just cutting the hair. It's just blunt cutting, so it's not damaging anything. And you can experiment a little bit more with your brow shape that way. So if you wanted to try out having a higher lifted brow or something, you can just kind of, and it'll grow back in a couple of weeks and you'll be fine. It's not a big deal. It's a very low commitment kind of thing to do. There was a time when I had tails of my brows lifted a little more. I've let them fill in since then. I go back and forth with whatever mood I'm in. Sometimes in the mood for more of a thinner brow. But I just go here and just kind of define the arch very carefully, pulling the skin taut, just like that. And it's super easy. I like that this has the little guard on it because it makes it just a little bit more user-friendly, a little bit safer feeling. But just make sure you're really paying attention to what you're doing. I like to get right in here. I get some little hairs and dead skin. I don't mess with this portion right here at all. That just I leave, except for like one little random hair I get right there. He's got to go. But it's only like a handful of hairs that I'm removing. Where I have the most issue is actually up here. I get a lot of little random hairs that go all the way to my hairline. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch this way. And I'm very gently doing this, like very carefully, paying attention to where I'm putting that blade. Again, not going too close to the actual eyebrow. And if you like a super neat, tidy brow, waxing, whatever, do you. This is just my technique because I have such thin, sparse, kind of lackluster brows. I don't want to risk what few hairs I have. Mine are, I'm pretty lucky. They're easy to find. They're easy to shape out. I kind of just know where they belong. I know a lot of people have like no idea how to shape their own brows and stuff, and that's why I do recommend at least going a couple of times to a professional for them to map out a shape for you that you can then maintain at home. That's kind of how I learned when I was, I think 14-ish. I got my brows waxed for the first time and kind of did it a few times, and from then just learned how to maintain the shape and what I liked. And of course I've destroyed the shape since then, grew them back completely. Been through a lot with my brows. Been through a lot. I had pencil thin brows, you know, I've talked about it. I think if you're my age, we've all done it. Using one of these is just a really easy way to maintain your brows at home between salon visits if you do go to the salon and get it done. It can buy you some time between waxings. So I'm just gonna come right here, just grazing across this top where I have just a few stragglers, wild hairs, and that's about it. And that is it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other brow and we'll be right back. Done my skincare and all that. So this is usually when I would start my makeup fully, like to do everything. I usually do brows first. I know that's a very polarizing thing, but some people like hate doing their brows first, some people love it. I'm a brows first person. I don't do the full brow first. I just get my basic kind of shape done because I feel like it helps just frame the eye, and I don't know, I think it aids in doing eyeshadow personally. Okay, so what I like to do is go ahead and just map my brow out and kind of the general shape of it now that everything's groomed and tinted and looking perfect as it's gonna get for me. But I'm just gonna brush them up. I love how they look when they're freshly tinted. It's just like so good. Because I feel like I don't even have to fill them in hardly. But when my brows are tinted, I like to use this Instant Lift Brow Pencil from e.l.f. in the shade Deep Brown because it's the color of what they are when they're tinted. When they're not tinted, I've recently been into this Wet n Wild Brow Obsessive Brow Pencil. It's just like a regular old pencil in the shade, I think, dark brown. It's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit closer to my natural brow hairs, the ones that have color. A closer match to that but it's just more like a quick, easy one. I don't like to go with a million brow products, even though I'm still a little bit extra with my brow routine. I will admit that. Tinting them just really makes it a lot less work. So I'm gonna go ahead and spoolie them up in position how I want them and start to fill in the shape with this little elf pencil. These are like $1, $1.50, $2-ish. They're super cheap and they last you a good while. And it's not like the best pencil in the world, but it's not the worst. There's just something about it I like, and I really like the tone of dark brown. Before I go in and fill them in, I like to put down a little bit of eye primer, like eyeshadow primer. I like to use the Milani one. Because my brows are sparse, they can kind of rub away and get a little messed up. Just like with eyeshadow, I feel like my oils and from my skin and everything kind of can interfere with the brow product, and it can make it fade and rub off throughout the day and just wear off. So if I'm putting a little bit of eyeshadow primer, and I prefer the Milani one for this part, I just kind of run that through the tails of my brow where I have the most sparseness. It just really gives the pencil something to stick to. I know that this sounds kind of a little weird, but if you have trouble with your brows staying in place or like rubbing off throughout the day or just fading or smearing, anything like that, try using an eye primer. It kind of changes the game, and it just, to me, makes filling them in a little bit easier because you have that base down. Because again, I have a lot of skin that shows through my eyebrows. So now I'm going to take my pencil and just map out my shape. I usually start about right here-ish and go across the bottom, and I like to kind of pull my tail out a little bit. I like to go for a little bit of a straight under part here, which this one's my tricky one. And then just come up to the arch and really with a light hand. I don't have to apply a whole lot of product since they're tinted, so it's just a little light hand, a little feather motions, and just fill in that gap right up here at the top. And kind of extend the tail out a bit and kind of try to give them a bit of a lift. So I do have downturned eyes and a very large like brow bone. There's a lot of real estate there. So I kind of want to fill it in a little bit with some brow. And yeah, that's about it right there. That's my good brow. This one's a little troublemaker because it's got the big bald patch right here. And also I have a scar from my eyebrow ring. So I do the same though, and I try to get them to match as much as possible. I don't fuss over them being not exactly the same as long as they're sisters and not twins, because without product my brows don't even live in the same zip code. They're not related. They don't even know each other. This one's like, do you even go here to the other brow? Like they're not friends. I try to kind of mimic what I did on the one brow on the other, thicken up the tail a bit, extend it. You can see how this one is naturally straighter and a little more boxy in shape, so try to round it out to match with this one. And this one just tends to be a little bit taller, so I go back and forth a little bit, fussing with them to get them looking about the same, as close as I can get them. And just a few like strokes through here, spoolie through as needed. And like this brow, the hairs like to lay down, these like to stand up. They're two different brows, totally. Like they belong on two different faces. So just fill in anywhere that I feel like needs a little bit more love. Try to get them looking about the same. It's easier to do this looking in a mirror at a distance where you can see both brows rather than in a magnified mirror. Because if you do it in a magnified mirror, you're going to focus in on the one brow. And then when you go do the other one, it's going to look totally different. So you need to at least be able to look up into another mirror and make sure they are looking as symmetrical as possible. I have very expressive brows, like I move them around a lot and I usually have them raised. It kind of hides if they're not quite even as well, which is a nice perk to that. So I don't ever want Botox in my brow muscles. I need the muscles. They are basically the main reason I can move my eyelids is because of my brow muscles. It's hip. Because I actually don't have functioning muscles in my lids themselves. So that's just fun. So no Botox for me in the forehead or in that region. So just kind of go back and forth a little bit. Try to make sure they are getting along, vaguely know each other, perhaps follow each other on Facebook, you know. Are they friends on Twitter? And just try to give them a little bit more beefy. Just build them up. And I like to pull the tail out just a little bit further than where my tail naturally ends. Kind of got obsessed with doing that after watching Moulin Rouge when I was a kid. She had those beautifully extended, like super long tails on her brows, and I was just like, that's cool, I want to do that. That is them filled. And thanks to the brow tint, that's so fast. I used to have to like go in with a pomade, it was a whole thing to try to make it look like I even had brows, but there we go, filled in. Next thing I like to do is do a little bit of tidying up underneath the brow. I don't really carve them out or anything like that, and I don't use a concealer that's way too light for me or anything like that. I use one that is more my skin tone, and I use just the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I take just a tiny bit just to really get that line underneath crisp. I like the underside crisp, but I like the top to get kind of bushy and wild. Yeah, I just take a little bit of this on a little flat brush, you know, these little flat concealer brushes. This is a Morphe M224. It's my favorite one to use for this. It's more, I do this at the tail of the brow just to make sure the tail is sharp. I like it really sharp. I like that crispness right out here and that little bit of lift because I have a heavy brow bone and I think it suits me. It kind of flatters me a little bit. Yeah, just clean that up. Sometimes I'll go like right here if I think it got messy on top. And also, if you did stain your skin with your brow tint, this could be a good time to clean it up. And I just kind of feather that down ever so slightly. So these hairs on this one brow like to fall down. Yeah, I just blend that right out. Just get that nice and clean looking in that one area. But I don't like go paint it in super heavy or anything like that. With whatever's left on the brush real lightly, I'll go right here. Just to make sure that line is looking somewhat straight and kind of clean looking, very groomed, manicured looking. And I try to use as minimal product as possible when I'm doing this part. I'm very much a back and forth person. Like I'll make a little bit of a mess doing one step. So I go back in, tidy up, and I'll go back, add more. I could sit here for hours doing stuff like that. Like I would with, you know, like one would with painting or something. I don't want to bring the concealer onto my lid necessarily because, I don't know, I feel like that makes my makeup get creasy sometimes, and I'd just rather not because I'm going to go in with a different eyeshadow base. Lately I've been using the Sigma all tidied up. I could have just been using a hand mirror for this. I'll take my finger and just kind of let that concealer blend to nothing. At this point I'll try to see what's uneven, what needs to be evened up. Like this could come up a little bit higher here. And depending on my mood, I could get real fussy and obsessive at this part. But I think we did okay today, and I don't feel like I need to get too fussy with it. And that's basically them filled in, and now they are basically filled in how I want them, the shape and all that. So at this point I would go ahead and do my eyeshadow and the rest of my face, all that, and that's what I'm gonna do. Then I will come back and show you how I fully finish the brows off, touch them up, get them good, set, and ready for the rest of the day. Yeah, I kind of break up my routine in a lot of weird ways. There's no one part of my makeup that I do at one time. I go ahead and get my general brow shape in, how I want it to look, and then I do my eyeshadow, then I do my foundation, then I come back, do the lower lash line, and towards the end, like when it's time to like do lips, I go back to the brows and see if I need to add some more product and make sure it's balancing with the eye makeup and everything, because I feel like sometimes the brow cannot have enough going on and I want to get them a little bit bolder to balance out and do little touch-ups. Sometimes I might mess something up or blended eyeshadow weird or smudged it, you know, something like that. So I'll go back in and fix it towards the end. So I'll see you guys in just a minute with a full face and I'll show you how I fully finish up the brows. Okay, so here I am, mostly finished with my makeup. I just like have to do my lips, put my lashes on, and do some eyeliner. But at this point is when I like to revisit the brows in my routine. So what I'm gonna do is I like to take a little tiny pencil this time, a little micro pencil. This is the e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil. I like drugstore brow pencils or drugstore brow products so much because they're affordable. The drugstore has upped their game with brow products in the last couple of years. Like e.l.f. and Wet n Wild knock it out of the park with brow products. Maybelline, CoverGirl do. Absolutely no reason to pay high-end prices for brow stuff anymore. And I'm a firm believer in getting like really affordable drugstore brow products because I tear through them really fast because I typically don't have very much brow going on. But as you see, now that I have my makeup on, the brows got a little like, they lost a little of their zhuzh maybe. So I like to just go through, they get a little powder in them, you know, and give them a little oomph. So I like to take a little precision brow pencil, you know, like a Brow Wiz, and get in there and just really tidy things up a little bit. This is a bit excessive part of the routine. You don't have to do this. This is just something I like to do just to me it makes it look finished. I like to add some hairs to the front, and this color is a little bit lighter than what I initially used, so it also gives a little dimension to the brow. I just go through and fix anything I think needs touching up. Sometimes I smudge the tail, and then I go in with a brow gel. Now if I haven't tinted my brows and they're just their natural color, I like to use something like this. This is the Maybelline Fast Sculpt Brow Gel. Rimmel makes an excellent one that's waterproof. Just these tinted types of gels I like to use when I don't have a whole lot going on in my brows. But when my brows are tinted, I have a holy grail product that I'm absolutely obsessed with. And I use, regardless, I'll use it over the tinted gel. But it is the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. I love it so much. This is a sample size that I got in a giveaway from Donna. I love it so much that I bought the full size. I'm not usually one to buy a high-end anything for brows. Like I was saying, I'm usually, nope. I'm gonna buy a drugstore. Nothing at the drugstore can compare to this. This is like firm hold hair gel for your brows. They are not gonna go anywhere. And I have very stubborn brows, so it locks them in place all day. Now couple others that I will say do a okay job. They're fairly decent, yet they're different types of formula. Would be the Brow Shaping Gel from Wet n Wild, and then the Brow Glue from NYX. These two are pretty similar. They are more like a pomade-y type of, like hair wax type of formula. They're waxy and pliable. They don't lock them in, but they give you that kind of laminated brow look. But the hairs are still moldable and like they don't set down. You can finesse them and mess with them throughout the day. I don't mind that, but I tend to ruffle my brow hairs throughout the day for some reason. They always get out of whack and crazy, so these aren't my favorites. I bought them to try them out because I thought, oh, maybe it's a dupe for this. No, these are, I think I heard they were like Boy Brow from Glossier, which I haven't used, but they're basically very like waxy, kind of a soap brow type of vibe. I like a good laminated like soap brow look and without the hassle, so that's why I like the Benefit Brow Setter so much. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that set down in my brows. And what I like to do is I take the little short comb in, kind of brush through and get them in position. I'll use the long, short, it doesn't matter really to me which side I'm using, but get them like where I want them, which is usually straight up in the front. And I kind of sculpt them up, but not sticking up crazy throughout the rest of the brow. I like my front hairs to stick up. And this also kind of helps get a little bit of that extra product out of the brows. Then I take the side of it that's kind of flat and I just kind of push them or press them into place. And that just locks it in. And I just kind of pat it down with that side and I don't know, flatten them out if that makes sense. And I think it looks good. I like it. I've gotten a lot of compliments since I started doing this on Instagram, which is why I was making this video, is because I have gotten on every picture since I've kind of started tinting my brows and doing this using the Benefit Brow Setter. I've gotten a comment on at least one on every picture be like, what are you doing with your brows? I love your brows. You know, something about my eyebrows. So that was the catalyst to this video. This stuff is kind of undefeated in my opinion. I can't believe it took me so long to try it. I feel like the other two that I spoke about get messy. Like they smear. This doesn't smear. And it's thin and not waxy. I mean, you can feel it in your brows though. Your brows are gonna feel stiff. I don't mind that. That just, to me, is like security. Like I know they're not gonna budge. But yeah, just take that flat end and push them down or in place. I think this is how the Patrick Ta soap brow or something, his little brow set, that's how he described using it, was like using it to flatten down the hairs. one of the tools or something in it. I can't remember now, but I remember Patrick Todd talking about something like this with his brow product. And I just kind of comb them into place. That is basically it. You can still see like a little bit of skin through them. They look full, they look real. They don't look like I've put a ton of pencil through them. Like they still look like brows, but they just look enhanced. And the brows that I wish I had. Make sure, because I have these very stubborn hairs right out here. These. So I have to really carefully get in there and get those little buddies. Make sure they are in place. Okay, and this dries down and is so budge proof, your brows aren't going to move. So if you get stubborn brow hairs, thick brow hairs, wiry ones, coarse ones that just want to go every which way, mine are thin but like to go every which way anyway. I can't recommend Brow Setter enough from Benefit. I'm not real familiar with all of Benefit's brow products. I've used this, I've used their mechanical brow pencil, and it was fine, but the shade was too light, so I wasn't like that into it. I'm gonna go put some lashes on, everything, and we'll be back for finish up this video. I could talk all day about eyebrows. I love them. And this is my makeup all finished and how the brows turned out. And I think this is I've got a hair stuck to my lashes. But yeah, this is basically my go-to brow routine lately. For like the last couple of months now for sure. Brow tinting has definitely changed the game. And the 24-hour brow setter from Benefit has been a huge benefit to my brow game. I think my brow game has leveled up going into this new year, and I am not mad at that at all. As I said, brows are kind of an obsession for me. I love eyebrows. I love tweaking my eyebrows, changing the shape, playing with them without doing anything drastic or permanent. I'm liking how things are going. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today. And if you have any comments, suggestions, tips, tricks, anything you want to leave down below, go ahead, let me know in the comments. I would love to have a conversation with you about eyebrows because I love eyebrows. If you know any products you think that I would like, let me know. Brow tinting product recommendations, anything like that, leave them down below. And yeah, that is all for today. I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye now.